Hello and welcome, my fellow First League supporters, to our next episode, HSV International. I'm Lennart, and like always with me, Philipp. Hi, Philipp.
Hi, Lennart. Nice to hear you again, fellow First League supporter.
Yeah, nice to hear you as well. Just for our listeners, how was your weekend? I believe we can all imagine our answers to this question, but summarize it for our listeners.
It needs not many words. It was simply amazing. I have a huge smile on my face since Saturday, and it did not leave so far. I'm just smiling the whole day, and the whole Sunday, especially after the two results. Lennart, amazing. We did it finally, and 2 weeks before the season ends. It's amazing, isn't it? How do you feel?
Yeah, absolutely amazing, and just glad, relieved, and I think we talked before the season that after the schedule was released, hopefully we secured the league before the last game, because we thought in Leverkusen will be a very, very difficult game. And now even 1 week before that, so 2 weeks before the Leverkusen game, after 32 games, we secured the league. Amazing, amazing.
There is no better feeling. I mean, no one of us really imagined that this could happen 3 or 2 match days before the season ends to really secure the league. Even when we played first season back in the days, like 8, 9 years ago, we always fought until the last match day, like at least for the last 5 to 6 years, except for one season, I guess.
Yeah, there were 1 or 2 seasons.
Yeah, Thorsten Fink, and I think the other coach, who was it, with whom we secured the league?
1 season with Bruno Labbadia, I believe.
The Bruno Labbadia season.
At the end of the season, maybe 13, 12, 13, something like
Yeah.
that. The season, I believe Eintracht Frankfurt played relegation, and Bremen secured their first league spot in that season at the last match day against Frankfurt. But yeah, probably now 10 years ago, I believe.
It's an amazing feeling. And imagine that the last 8 years, we always struggled until the end of the season to determine where we will play next season. It's the first time since 8 or, I don't know, 10 years maybe, that we know 2 match days before the season ends in which league we will play the next season. It's an amazing feeling. It's an
Yeah.
amazing feeling. Yeah.
If you think about like that, it's absolutely crazy, and maybe probably no other club in Germany had this, that you don't know where you will be playing 1 week before the end of the season. It's completely ridiculous if you think about it.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. But let's come back to the Frankfurt game. What awaits us this episode, Lennart? First of all,
Like you said, of course, like always, our last match against Frankfurt, so the whole match day experience. Then we have some news of the week. Sadly, today, no question of the week. Probably everyone is still partying after our
I think so too. Yeah.
after our weekend. And then a small preview, like always, for our next match against Freiburg on Sunday, which will be gladly not the very important game for the standings anymore at the end, but still probably a huge party in Hamburg. So I'm looking very forward to our last home game in this season.
Me too. Absolutely. Will be a lot of fun on Sunday. And yeah, but first of all, let's cover the fun part of last weekend. Lennart, both of us were in Frankfurt. How was our match day experience?
Yeah, like so often we traveled by train. I believe we were quite punctual, maybe 5 minutes or something like that. So nothing really to complain about. We had some very nice drinks prepared.
That's true.
Normally, some of us drinking maybe 1 or 2 beers, but this time we had a drink which you know very well from Italy. So, which was it, Philip?
Yeah, it was Spritz. Aperol Spritz was a nice drink from Italy. And in fact, we had more liquors from Italy available. We had Select from Venice. We had Campari from Milano. And we had famous Aperol from Padova. Amazing drinks we had on the train. And yeah, it was just a fun trip. Like always with you, it's always a great fun to travel. But on Saturday, I mean, we all knew that this game or this whole match day would be huge. And it was just from the very beginning when we met in the train. It was a bit interesting because next to us were fans or supporters from Hansa Rostock
Mhm.
who are usually not very, let's say, friendly. But these guys were actually very friendly. I mean, could be also the case that we were like more people compared to them. They were 3 to 4, right? And we were like 7 or 8.
That wasn't the reason because I entered the train alone before you guys,
Yeah.
and the four of them were already there, and I had a very nice conversation with them. They were also very friendly when I was the only Hamburg supporter besides them. So it wasn't about the numbers.
Yeah, amazing. Even better.
Yeah.
And beyond them, there was a Werder Bremen supporter dressed completely in green and who traveled from, he was maybe even there when you entered, right, in Münster?
Yeah, I believe he was already there. I didn't saw him in Münster, and he was already sitting there, at least when I entered the compartment. So maybe even from Bremen. I don't know where the train started.
I think in Hamburg.
I think so as
Yeah.
well. I mean, it wasn't that much Hamburg supporters at the start of the train, at least not in our compartment, but at least, yeah, Bremen supporter and probably the Hansa Rostock supporters as well entered the train, maybe in Hamburg.
Yeah, they played in Aachen. It's also here in our area. But it's always interesting which persons you meet on the train. But yeah, we arrived in Frankfurt after having a couple of Italian drinks. And yeah, just had a great time there. We went to the stadium by local train. We arrived at the airport, which is the long distance train station in Frankfurt. Then we entered the local train there to the stadium. And the stadium is actually located in a pretty nice area. It's the forest. Maybe a fun fact, the traditional name of the stadium is the Waldstadion, the forest stadium, in Frankfurt. So what happened when we left the local train and what did we experience there?
Yeah, it was also great weather, so the whole day experience were very nice, and therefore, when we left the train, we walked through the stadium. We had a small stop on our way, got a drink with our group, and in the middle of the Eintracht Frankfurt supporters. So even with them, it was a great and friendly atmosphere the whole day. After that, we continued our way to the stadium. I believe we entered it probably at 2 o'clock, so maybe 1.5 hours before the game, around that. And I believe we were on our stands 1 hour before the game, probably.
Yeah, I think so too. What did we drink, Lennart, in Frankfurt?
Well, this is not the same answer for us. For me, it was a
Yes,
beer. Like I would say always, but we also covered the Aperol so, in our train. So not always, but often. Let's stick to that for my case. But for you, it was a drink we already mentioned last week.
exactly. But we did not mention, we did not meet Annika
No,
in Frankfurt. I had the Abelach, the apple wine, on my own, unfortunately. Not even one of you had the apple wine, but it was actually amazing. It was very delicious.
but one of our friends tried the apple wine, but she didn't like that. So don't
Yeah.
forget about that.
Yes, you're right. She tried. And I can understand how you can't like it. But yeah,
Yeah,
tastes are different.
exactly. We will not agree on this one.
No, and we don't need to.
No, absolutely not. It's fine.
Yeah, but then what happened on the pitch? Even better than all of our trip. The most important thing of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe we got pretty well in the game. We had not much huge chances, but some nice attacks, I would say, some interesting scenes. And I would say, at least in the first, let's say, 30 minutes, we were the better team. At least I had the feeling that we were a little better in the game. Of course, you had always the feeling that because of the individual quality, Frankfurt is always dangerous, but we were defending quite well. And yeah, like I said, we had some nice actions in the offensive, especially, of course, the shot from Fabio Vieira, who hit the crossbar from a shot, I believe, from 80 meters, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
just very central in front of the goal. Yeah, like I said, very good first half hour. Or what do you think?
I agree with you, Lennart. Maybe just one more thing to add to our previous sentences about the drinks we had in Frankfurt. Maybe you're wondering why we are mentioning these drinks, but the apple wine in Frankfurt is a very traditional local drink. And that's why I guess that Annika invited us to drink one apple wine with her. And yeah, as I said, had one there. Yeah, but back to the game. Just wanted to clarify that it's a local drink. I agree with you. We were a better team in the first like 30 minutes. But then by the end of the first half, it was changing a bit. And in the end, I would say that Can Uzun, the player from Frankfurt, was probably the most dangerous player of the first half with many shots on target. But in the end, Daniel Hoyer Fernandez, our goalkeeper, saved all of them. And yeah, then was halftime. Nothing more to add to the first half, right?
Yeah, I would say so as well. Like you also said, in the last 10, maybe 15 minutes of the first half, we made some pretty easy mistakes, which almost yeah, led to a Frankfurt lead. But like you also said, our keeper was able to save them all. And then we went into the second half, and sadly, we began the second half exactly like we left the first one, with a lot of defensive errors. I believe Frankfurt had 3 chances in the first 4 minutes of the second half,
Mm.
and the third of these chances secured with them the first goal. So 1-0 to Frankfurt after 49 minutes.
Yeah, somehow avoidable, I would say. I mean, if you look for mistakes, then I would say that it was Yatta who did not pass the ball accordingly. I mean, it was too easy to get the ball from him. Yeah, but in the end, I would not even say that Uzun played it very well in the end. He could also have passed the ball to Ansgar Knauf, I guess, who was on the right wing completely free. Yeah, but in the end, got the goal. But we then directly took the chance to step back in the game. A bit lucky, I would say, but made it.
Yeah, absolutely, and you're right, it was a little bit lucky. Um, I mean, first of all, I'm very glad that it was after corner, because
Yeah.
we talked a lot about them and that we have to be better. I mean, it was not scored directly from it, but yeah, after the corner, I believe Omari got the ball outside of the box and got the chance to made another cross into the opponent box, and then the ball got to Albert Grönbeck, and
Mhm.
he was able to score his first HSV goal.
Like you predicted, Lennart, last
Yeah.
episode.
At least one thing I predicted right. Very glad about that. It could have gotten very easily differently because on the goal line, I believe Skiri was standing,
Yes, it was
and
really.
it didn't look so hard, to be honest. Maybe to save the situation.
I agree. I mean, when you see the pictures, it looks absolutely stupid from Skiri's point of view. But I mean, when you played football on your own, you know that it might look stupid, but on the
Yeah,
same way is very hard to defend. If you're just on your wrong foot, if you're just standing on the wrong leg or on the wrong foot, you have nothing to do there. You know, it's just unlucky for him,
absolutely.
very lucky for us. But I think the second goal, which followed like a couple of minutes afterwards, it was absolutely not lucky. It was just very, very well played. And Albert Grünberg had a crucial role in this goal.
Yeah, totally. A great pass from Grönberg to Vieira. A great chip ball. I believe he beat 3 Frankfurt defenders with one pass,
Mhm.
and then a great first contact by Vieira with a strong left foot. A nice finish. No chance for the goalkeeper. And then I believe we turned the game in 7 minutes. And of
Yeah, and
course, this goal, our block was exploding.
it was, yeah, insane. I mean, after the first goal, you thought, okay, it's like always, you know, you're playing okay, but then you have the period of time in which you then just lose the game and don't come back at all. But this time, I mean, just needing 2 to 3 minutes to equalize, and then another 2 to 3 minutes to step into lead. It was amazing. And especially after the first goal, like I said, you're down, you know? You, of course, try your best to support the team nevertheless and to come back into the game. But that quickly and that well deserved in the end. And with this, especially the second amazing goal, the rest, like you said, was just the sector was exploding. It was an amazing atmosphere. And on the other hand, the Eintracht Frankfurt supporters were absolutely desperate and they just stopped supporting their team directly after our second goal. And then the whole stadium for the rest of the game, like 30 to 40 minutes. I mean, we were in the guest sector. Of course, you in the guest sector know or mostly hear yourself. But I would be very interested in what the Frankfurt supporters from the other side of the stadium think about the last 30 to 40 minutes. If they would agree with me when I say that you primarily heard only the HSV fans after the second goal. And this for the duration of 30 to 40 minutes, because it was just an amazing atmosphere.
Yeah, you could see that in Frankfurt, a lot of things aren't going very well right now. At the beginning, I thought it was a totally great atmosphere. In the first maybe 10 minutes, I thought, wow, this might be the loudest place in Germany right now, because both fans were supporting their team absolutely great manner.
Yeah.
But even after the first half, there were a lot of Frankfurt fans making it very clear that they were not satisfied with the first half. Let's maybe call it like that.
Mm.
And after our second goal, yeah, the disappointment was, you could feel it in the whole stadium. Of course, not in our area, but at least from the Frankfurt stands, you couldn't see very much anymore. Not a lot of flags waving or something like that. It's not like Eintracht Frankfurt, which are maybe one of the best fan bases in Germany.
Yeah,
But right now it's very difficult there.
it is. And maybe just to point out why it's so difficult, I think it has a lot to do with the coach at the moment, who is Albert Riera. I mean, he might not be the initial source for all the issues that Frankfurt has right now, but he's the coach at the moment and he can solve the problems that the club has. He's at least very controversial. He came, I think, like 11 games ago.
He took over Frankfurt at the start of February, so 14 weeks ago, because it was on our day from our first podcast episode.
Okay, yeah, interesting. Yeah, funny. Maybe just to elaborate on him again, I mean, the past week he gave a very rude press conference, and that was not his first one, probably. He just seems to not have the best relationship to his players, I would say. He has publicly argued against, I think, Johnny Burkhardt, the striker, or also against Can Uzun, the player who was actually very good yet now against us on Saturday. Yeah, we are not a Frankfurt podcast, but you always have to know what's going on there and why we were probably quite lucky to get this club on this match day and not probably in the last one or like 20 weeks ago. I don't know, maybe this would have been a completely different picture. We were lucky to play against them on Saturday, but we also had shown a very great performance, to point that out again.
Yeah, and maybe to conclude the topic, Riera, he took over Frankfurt at the 8th place. They are on the 8th place right now as well. And he got now 15 points in 11 games. This is not a great result for Eintracht Frankfurt coach. Not in the last years. Frankfurt right now is one. In the last years was one of the, let's say, maybe 5 best teams in Germany.
Yeah.
And of course, this goes along with some expectations now as well. And therefore,
Of course.
it is disappointing he wasn't able to make things better. Let's at least stick to that, because that's very clear. And I mean, after our game now, I wish Eintracht Frankfurt only the best for the last 2 games, and hopefully they can secure the European spot. I would really like them to do it, but now let's concentrate on our club again.
Yes, I mean, they are a great representative for German football, also internationally. And maybe the last thing, because this counts and holds true for both clubs, what we as supporters expect is not much, I would say. We demand only that the players who are on the pitch really gives their very best to leave their heart on the pitch, to give the best for the club, and to pay back what we supporters do every week. And I think this is where the situation in Frankfurt is crucial right now, because you don't get the feeling that the players actually understood this, you know? They maybe did in the past years. That's why they were very successful. And this is why we were successful on Saturday, because you saw how our team fought and how they took every duel and fought about every header. And yeah, it was just amazing to see. And you know, this holds true for the whole season. Of course, we had games where it was harder. And of course, we had games where we were not performing very well. But then it was the game after that we tried to make up for it. And this was just an amazing season from us so far. And I hope that the last two games will finish this season accordingly. And maybe the season ends with a one-digit table spot, maybe ninth place. You have to know that each better place in the table means a lot more money because of TV distribution money. So even though we are now playing safely in the first division next year, let's try to get the best possible result also from this perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. In my opinion, I hope we can secure the 12th place. I think that might be realistic. You were talking about the ninth one. This would be a very crazy scenario. That's
You are right. I mean, the 12th place is way more realistic. Absolutely.
and I mean the ninth place could mean European football next season. But
I don't even think that it's possible, right? In terms of calculations.
it is possible, but like I said, it's very crazy. I mean, we need 6 points. Augsburg is only allowed to get 0 points. Mainz probably only 2, and Gladbach 4. Yeah, like I said, very complicated scenario. Let's call it that.
Anyways, what are our current news of the week, Lennart?
Yeah, maybe let's start with our women's team. Ladies first, after all.
Yes.
Sadly, they started the weekend with a loss on Friday, but which might make it even worse. They played such a good first half that it was so disappointing that they really lost this game.
Absolutely. I mean, when you see the highlights, the chances were incredible. That they did not score a single goal there, I can't understand. And in the end, it's like football always is. This can be punished. And it was punished.
Yeah, it's very sad. But maybe to point something very good about the weekend in the Women's League out, Essen lost their home game against Leverkusen 4-0. And I mean, because the goal difference will probably make a very, very huge impact in the end. Now we have 9 goals and 3 points ahead of Essen, just 2 games before the end of the season. Let's hope that we can keep that up. Next weekend, our women will be playing in Cologne and Essen on Friday in Nuremberg. This will be a very, very crucial weekend as well.
Yeah, it will be tight until the end.
Probably, yeah. What do we have else, Philipp?
Yeah, we have another woman-related news of the week topic, because there is a rumor, or we can meanwhile not officially, but very, very probably say that it's more than just a rumor, because Kathleen Krüger, the former or also current FC Bayern official, is in talks to become the successor of Stefan Kunz. I know her name for quite a while now. She's quite famous here in Germany. I mean, to these people who regularly check platforms like Transfermarkt or other news here in Germany. And I know that many, many people think really good of her. And Bayern tries to keep her from this transfer. Yeah, at least from what I perceive. I don't know how you see it, Lennart, but this is like a huge thing. So she could be in charge of the sports department of our club from summer onwards.
Yeah, definitely. And it was already confirmed that there are talks between Hamburg and Krüger. Therefore, it is more than just a rumor, definitely. Of course, this doesn't mean that she will be taking over. I mean, we don't know how these talks will end up. Like you also said, I believe Bayern tried or maybe is still trying to keep her at their own club. And we don't know if she will accept our offer, if she will accept Bayern's offer, if Hamburg is talking maybe to 2 or 3 candidates as well. Of course, we don't know about that. All we know, because that was already confirmed by Bayern Munich, there are talks between Hamburg and Krüger. And yeah, let's see about that. I know about her very, very good reputation. But of course, you also have to point out that she don't have experience in this exact area. And therefore, of course, it would be something different, but that doesn't mean it is bad.
Exactly. The question here is, would you want to have someone in this position who has experience at 10 clubs prior, but was fired or sacked at every club and failed then in the end? And you then introduce him as the new successful manager? Or you try something else? And of course, you can fail with this decision, but it could also be huge.
Exactly. And every decision has a probability to fail.
Exactly.
What I believe is important, and this is something I guess no one of us can really, I mean, we can have an opinion, but we can't really decide that or really rate about that. No matter which person will be joining, can work with the current stuff, can work with Klaus Costa, can work with Melin Poitzin, with our whole stuff, with the whole team, and work as a unit, as a team to make the best possible decisions for our club. And let's hope that whoever will be coming is a perfect fit, will be making the right decisions, because the next transfer window again will be a very, very important one, like we already mentioned in the past weeks. I think she would be a good choice.
I agree with you. And I think, like you said, we need major changes in the summer break. Like there will be a huge change in our squad constellation. And maybe having a new perspective in there might not be wrong.
Yeah, but I believe that will be all about Katlin Krüger. Maybe we will have something more to talk about this topic next week or in 2 or 3 weeks. We will keep you informed, of course. Nevertheless, I think that would be all about the current news of the week for this episode. And therefore, let's head to our next game, to the preview for the Freiburg game. Philipp.
Yeah.
We already talked about it. A huge party probably on Sunday. We secured the league. No pressure anymore. What do you think will be awaiting us?
An amazing game with an amazing atmosphere. And imagine having a home game by the end of the season, like you said, without being too important. It's a feeling I mean, I can't remember this feeling. It's amazing. And we were always joking about Bayern München fans having these feelings all over by the end of the seasons. Yeah, and now it's simply amazing. Oh, what's this?
We got a call right now from one of our listeners.
No way. A live call.
A live call. So let's see what he has to say. Hello, Marcus. You're live on HSV International. What can we do for you?
Lennart, how do you feel now that we've avoided relegation?
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Probably exactly like you, right?
For all your listeners, the HSV played Bundesliga next season.
Yes.
Absolutely
finally.
right. Yeah, we also already talked about it. We called it our fellow First League supporters at the start of the episode, because now every one of us can be looking very forward, I believe, for the next year.
Is Philipp live too?
Philipp is live
Yes.
too, yeah.
Okay. Hello, Philipp.
Hello, Marcus. It's nice to have you on board.
Yeah.
For me, the moment the final whistle blew was absolutely brilliant. There are many tracks in the internet where you can see how the crowd was crying and shouting all the time. It was a wonderful feeling Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely.
It
We
was.
also saw some videos with live reactions from supporters who were, like you said, some of them were crying, but at least they were so relieved, I guess. I mean, the whole year we just fought for this exact moment, right?
I hope that you talk about that match and that you talk about the fact that I did say before the match that we would win.
Yeah, 100%. You mentioned it.
That's true. I guess I just told it Philip half an hour before the game, but because at the start of the week, I think I talked about a 2-2, or maybe a 1-1. So a week
think so
ago,
too.
I thought we would only get 1 point, which would be okay as well. But of course, we take the 3.
Absolutely. Man of the match?
Grönbeck.
Huge question. Maybe you will start, Philip. What was your man of the match?
Like I said, my man of the match would be Grönbeck with 1 goal, 1 assist. New position. He played left wing instead of Miro Muheim. Amazing game from him.
Yeah, I agree with Philip. What about you, Mark?
Very difficult. In my opinion, Fabio Vieira. Because every time when he is at the ball, the situation is very hard to defend for the defense of the other team. So Fabio Vieira. A brilliant goal from him, 4th time in the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And he almost scored another great goal in the first half when he shot against the crossbar from around 80 meters. We talked about that scene as well.
So I said it before. If Vieira is at the ball, it's a situation, magical moments at the time. He's the best player in our squad. So there's only one Fabio Vieira.
Yeah, and hopefully he will be playing in Hamburg next season as well. And maybe then we will give him his chant with one Fabio Vieira. Maybe the whole stadium will sing it.
Yeah. Last question for me. Now we need to make some sensible signings for the new season, though.
Yeah, definitely. Some key players will probably leave us.
Must sign 1 center back, left back, right back, 2 strikers.
Maybe 1, maybe
Perhaps a
2
new goalkeeper.
players. And maybe a goalkeeper, but definitely a player for the offensive wings, right? We don't know if we will be keeping Otele. We would need to sign him as well because he's also only on loan. Dompe might be leaving us.
The question is what system we play next year. 4-4-2 or like now 3 defenders, midfield of 5 and 2 strikers. Then you need perhaps 1 striker, 1-2, and not a wing player.
That might be true, yeah. In that case, you don't need an actual wing player, but maybe one more central midfielder like Vieira or Grönbeck, which is, well, let's say, a creative one. And yeah, let's see about that.
We have a few own players from other clubs who will come back. From Elversberg, 2 players.
Yeah, but I can't imagine that they will be returning to us because Elversberg has the option to buy them. And both of them are key players in their system. And I believe they will be buying them.
Both players had an option to buy them?
Yeah. From what I've heard, definitely Poreba was very early confirmed. And from what I've heard, they have a clause to buy Emmanuel Ferrari as well. But yeah, let's see about that. Now we have secured the league. We already talked about it 2 weeks before the end of the season. Therefore, maybe we have some new signings very early now.
The HSV played Bundesliga. As we said it Saturday, we say it today.
And we will be saying it for 12 months as well.
The final statement.
Absolutely. So
wish you and Philip a nice podcast, and we see you again in Leverkusen 2 weeks.
Absolutely. Thank you for your call, for the first live call here in our podcast. I wish you a very, very nice week. Celebrate our win from Saturday, and we will see us in 2 weeks.
With a cigar and a single malt whiskey.
Perfectly. Bye, Mark.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Ciao.
This was our first live call, Philip.
It was very funny. to listen to Marcus here on the podcast. It's the second time that he appeared in the podcast. The first time we used him as a telephone joker to one of our listeners' questions.
Yeah,
And now it's great to hear him again in this podcast.
that's true. So yeah, you're right. So it was actually the second live call, but it was the first one we received. We have to call it like that.
That's true. Yeah. But now come back to our Freiburg game. We were being stopped with this amazing atmosphere that awaits us. And maybe a quick look on the personnel. Luca is back. Zambi is back. Albert Grünbeck is back like for a couple of weeks now. Josef Paulsen is back. And I think our coach mentioned it in the Spieltagsansprache, in the final motivation speech before the game started. Like now we're almost complete. Just a couple of players missing, such as Miro Muheim or still Alexander Singh-Leleseed, or still injured. Yeah, but we have good personnel situation. Will be a huge party on Sunday. And maybe important to know, Freiburg plays the Europa League on Thursday. They are in the semifinal. They play the second leg against Braga and are probably very exhausted on Sunday. So, again, good preconditions for us to secure the next 3 points and to even improve our feeling, even if it's very hard, to be honest, because we are feeling so well.
Yeah, that's true. But we already had a very close game away in Freiburg. So I believe it will be another close game on Sunday. And I'm looking very forward to it.
What do you predict, Lennart?
Well, I believe because Freiburg will be exhausted now without pressure, we will be kind of, what's the right word? I would say you will take the momentum and we will win 4-1. So maybe not a close game.
No, but before you go to your goal scorers, Lennart, I would have said probably the same. I would have gone with a 4-0, like we played against Mainz. Remember?
Yeah.
So it's actually funny, but we both of us predict 4 goal scorers on our side. But who are your 4 predicted goal scorers on Sunday?
I mean, you could hear it because first I was speaking about a very close game, and then I said 4-1. Therefore, you know it's very spontaneous right now. I say Fabio Vieira will be scoring one. Yusuf Poulsen will scoring 1 goal. Königsdörfer will be scoring another one. And because he will become some more minutes and become a key player in the last 20 minutes as well, Otto Stange will be scoring the last goal of the game.
Oh, that would be amazing. His first Bundesliga goal in the Volksparkstadion. I go with 2 goals by Robert Glatze, 1 goal by Luka Vuskovic, and the other one by Zambi Lokonga.
Yeah, a goal by Luka in this probably last game in our stadium would be very, very amazing and exciting as well.
Absolutely. And both of us will see it on Sunday. Like always, we will go there by train, come back by train, and look very much forward also to our last away game afterwards in Leverkusen.
Yeah, absolutely. So the season comes to an end, only 2 games, and our episode comes to an end now as well. I believe that was everything for this week, and therefore, thank you, Philipp, again for your time. It was very nice again to talk with you, especially after the last weekend.
Thank you too, Lennart. It was amazing.
Thank you again to listen to our episode. Keep looking forward to the next season. We are in the First Bundesliga next season as well. HSV International stays First League with every one of you. And we will hear each other next week. Thank you again for listening. Bye.
Bye-bye.